literally are an inconvenient truth. Yet Dee isn't the least bothered about wanton littering. There's moments of altruism from them in this episode which open up the potential in the plot, and a fair amount of activism too. Sign a petition. Just stop Mac. There's an interesting contrast in Dennis, Mac and morality. Harton seeks us to suspend our disbelief. While creepy and obscene, Dennis is the closest bar Frank that they have to an adult in the room, a leader born of dislike over an abdication of responsibility. Action hero Mac ramps up everything past the speed limit, morals formed by his creationist thinking. Sage and Azrael are fine. Their purpose is to trigger Dennis, just when it seems his environmentalism might suggest presence of a soul. His rage knows no bounds. Meanwhile, recycling, phones, swords, camel's humps with milk, and it's really the first time we're seeing that these guys are in love. Charlie Day and Danny DeVito continue to impress with their ludicrous, animated body language, and the screen is alive with their chemistry. Regarding the baby, Dee might have gone along with Mac.
A pack of smokes would be good.
This is our first rodeo with Dee's thoughts on motherhood. She's unimpressed with the threat of exclusion as much as Mac is. Fear is driving the DB subplot. Dennis is in full plan mode. He's assumed control of the situation and knows exactly how it is going to play out here. Anyone else love to see him play the Master in Doctor Who?
The Kraken awakes.
The Gerber baby was a symbol of the Fremont Canning Company from 1928, later Gerber Products. In 2010 the company chose new Gerber babies yearly, making this 2007 episode Prophecy. Brenda's let herself go. The plan for DB to be a Hollywood star, a Mexican with sauce and chips who doesn't look Latino, so needs orange face. Hashtag corporate monies matter. Dennis, ego hero. The pathology and evidence suggest Dennis may have fantasized this plan, which becomes Sage's plan, to twist it for personal justice. He seems to have found a like ego in Sage. You can bet he's got those chains, tensile strength worked out. Charlie and Frank's trolleys of junk in Main Street aren't at home. Look at this, look at that. The props department have been going all out on it, and hear how the script weaves around what's been sourced while being open to improv. And there's an added joke for season 16 viewers in the background. You can see how much Frank accelerates gang behaviour compared with season 1 excesses of eggs at an abortion clinic or guns. This is a whole other level of sensory anarchy. Dennis and Sage, you can even hear Dennis and Sage's voice as he carries out Dennis's plan. Intentional? I don't know, but deliciously creepy. I love the lighting in Azrael's apartment, and it's a solid choice by director Jerry Levine to blend it with the other night journeys. Bonnie's revelation of Charlie's abortion is an odd and fun scene, a mini-sode style. It links in narratively on the themes of junk and recycling. Charlie's rant at the cafe on disposable culture is a winger speech to take us home. So Dennis rescues Sage and the tree and bangs Azrael. The terror of Dennis parading the success of his 3-pronged victory. Or is it 6 prongs?
Later bar, night or day sometime?
Here we've got a fun subplot that feels shoehorned, but shows Charlie's literacy isn't confined to words. And another of those fun end catastrophe climaxes. This is the first episode of 18, directed by Fred Savage. The setup is a sweet mini-skit, rats versus scorpions, and fighting and drinking inside versus fighting and drinking outside. Fighting is what this crew is best at, and it's a treat seeing them work their performative muscles. Fighting and eyebrows. Script by Day, Hornsby and Harton. Dee's made 2 hefty cocktail jugs. For Dee, McElhenney gives a 5-star line reading.
You're a woman!
Though soon Mac worries Dee could do better than him. DeVito and Day are electric talking Green Man and Frank's Woodstock experience, which seems linked to some trauma. I love Mac and Dennis's triumphant take on respect for the Philadelphia Eagles while pissing in their parking lot and smashing bottles. Frank is dropping acid. Well, that accelerated quickly. Dee has manned up. Cole Armstrong, 3-time All-American sprinter in 5 counties. Sociopathic coach. Charlie is perfectly fine to barbecue and beer in an empty parking lot. The boys argue with the first person in meet, Doyle McPoyle. Charlie just wants an easy time, no work, and the McPoyles are here, in force. We'll not see the extended McPoyle clan, I reckon, until season 11. Some structural groundwork is laid here for that one. Love this dude with a hairline receding for years back, and how some carry obscure instruments, and a framed painting. I despise McDonald's. As for the Donovan McNabb scene, I'm loving it. That so is the guy from the Cosby Show. Frank has spiked Charlie. He doesn't want to be lonely tripping. Dee is mocking the boys for their lack of fitness, and it's wonderful seeing Max sweat and heave right before he gets a low blow in on her. And Doyle McCoy puts him down. He is a psycho. Sonny's first internal monologue is from DeVito. Sweat, lighting and motion effects for claustrophobia. It's a seed for the extended episode Being Frank, also in season 11. The scene following is Charlie, also in voiceover LSD-induced thoughts. Apparently Ryan can hear these, so we empathise with how freaked out Charlie is. Then a third internal monologue, and the best known.
I've got the stride of a gazelle.
Are we to assume Dennis lives in a permanent LSD state? It's a poetic script and delivery that lets us hear and be freaked out by Dennis's vanity, and a fun moment of slapstick. We also get to hear the thoughts of Dee, who asserts her female supremacy by kicking the ball into the sun. It's always a delight to see Artemis pip Danny, which makes her the perfect toilet siren. We can assume she and Frank met at the fallout of Charlie Goes America. Frank's acid trip awareness of her is a germ of the idea, because the McPoy's bog is riddled with germs. 16 seconds of wonderful POV perspective show us the McPoyles and all their uglies, with milk fetish, before panning back to reveal the narrator as Green Man. As it transpires, Frank made it outside, and our Artemis is actually here. Both he and Charlie are having problems understanding the passage of time. I love the malevolence in Dee's voice here.
Oh, that's right, I'm a woman!
Where she sounds like she's trying to convince him. Anyway, Frank shoots Doyle in the leg, and the gang flee before a riot breaks out. This episode tickled me the first few times I saw it, and there's still laughs on the 13th viewing. The overtapping of the monologues isn't really a bother, as you could come to the crossroads of the theme, reality and aspiration, two factors which were beginning their dominance in the television landscape when this aired. Another nice setup. Charlie has magic knives and the boys count down before throwing them at Dee. Enter Frank with cigars and champagne. Barbara has died of a botched neck. Dead as disco. I've mentioned before my love for Anne Archer's Barbara. On the Sunny podcast, the creators regretted killing her off, not imagining renewal up to season 18. I recently learned Anne and her husband are Scientologists, along with their firstborn, Tommy Davis. You've probably seen Tommy, a frontline spokesman for Scientologists for the last 20 years. What a cult. Script by Hornsby and McElhenney. The directorial debut of Matt Shackman, who will turn in 43 episodes. Here he makes the most of the largely out-of-the-bar location. Reading of the will by the lawyer. It's Brian Unger's first appearance in a role. He's very earnest in talking about Frank's penis via Barbara's will, and almost immediately draws ire for being confused as a conduit. Frank and Dee are very angry. Dennis thanks him for the house. It's a classic gang versus straight man scene, which Unger totally gets and is incredibly funny. Oh look, blackface. God damn it, Dee. Barbara in her coffin with jewellery leads to a great line though.
That woman is buried down there like Mr. T.
Dennis and his boys and Shay Reynolds. Charlie with Dee's dowry. Their friends list is a restraining order, suicide, and arson victim, and 2 with sisters at Mac banged, allegedly. This leads to Dennis wondering who will tell stories of him and sing his praises. Frank's plan to con Bruce, and let's not talk about the actor, as Seamus flirts with incest. Wardrobe and makeup departments put effort into making us feel more discomfort. And then he spirals into bashing AIDS victims, and as I write this I remember just how much Sonny likes to flirt with red button issues. This is the show's dilemma, its challenge. It's made by the most loving family and media production about the nastiest, vilest scum on earth. What a straddle. Frank wants his clothes burned. The No Friends are making a flyer for guys for their party mansion, which in Mac's first draft sounds gay, and the second draft and the third draft, their specification on guests and their tastes in humour gives me a big grin. The penis flyer, a great sight gag which earns its milking. Charlie brings Ernesto, the crossbow guy, and it turns out they thought it was a dick all along. Another mad wardrobe for Frank. I can't help but see Ben Edlund's a tick. Bruce is onto their scheme and brings along some of the adopted children mentioned in season 2's finale. Mac and Dennis subjects the first year college masons to their jackass antics. There's great pacing in this episode, with scene on top of scene. More great staging with Charlie's bedtime story read passionately by Ernesto. He feels a pain in Dee's diary and suggests Charlie should see her as his soulmate. Dee floats the idea of digging up Barbara, and then an orphan refund. We've seen Mac and Dennis search for their lost youth before, and will again, though this marks a darker turn. Ernesto and Charlie are in tears.
It's all part of the healing process.
Bruce wants to see how far Dee and Seamus will go in a scene of delightful cringe and absurdism ramped up a notch to their marriage. I guess this is still canon? There's a wonderful double laugh when Bruce gloats about their lack of limits, only for Dennis to ask him to make the pronouncement of man and wife again so he can videotape it, and then the prisoners escape. Oh, and Ernesto robbed their house. There's ominous portents in the pre-credits with a Mac and Frank team up, the latter in events, and a Charlie drawing. Yeah, it gets real. McPoyle's demands includes clams and a Rare Planet Hollywood jacket. Dee is a first eternal, and she's remarkably good at using her psych studies to convince the others to turn on one another. Frank is oblivious to Mac's calls for help, barely lowering his voice. I love Charlie's understanding of Stockholm Syndrome as a throat infection. Messing with Margaret is cheap laughs, but do you see me sleeping on a pile of gold coins? Frank's in a full homage to Indiana Jones, facing ancient texts and a rising temperature. Charlie's been set up as an idiot and gullible, so there's a sleight of hand when he intelligently claims a map is a decoy and makes use of Mac's gullibility to fart in his face. It's his victory dance and a rage against their dire circumstance. When the sunny finale comes, Charlie may well be the last man standing. Dennis faces down Liam and Ryan and proves they're serious. This episode is a gross out of derangement to McPoyle's germs infecting Dee's ideas of sibling hostility and self-fulfilling Stockholm Syndrome. Perfect as a mirror, Dennis is right behind her. Charlie playing dominant to Frank is always fun, as is seeing Mac with his guard down, a shallow and slimy follower. This feels like an authentic taste of what young Mac and Charlie's friendship was. Good musical scoring of rising tension as Mac grabs McPoyle's sweaty tighty-whities. The immunity challenge is on and Dee flips and betrays. Of course she fails at even that. Dennis telling Mac to bump it. Mac says,
I love you.
Charlie loves Dee and slaps her a lot, while the gang are smashing up the bar. Gotta love Dennis's seduction techniques.
You're Stone Cold Fox, Margaret.
Again, this is a fast-moving plot. Dee loses a challenge and loses Charlie. It's a motif of particularly the early Sonnies for these mind games, triple crossing and quadruple crossing. Sometimes it seems too quick and complex, but there's always enough of a pause to mentally catch up this episode. Frank in the attic, specifically Charlie's bedroom. Indiana Jones to full horror flick. Meanwhile, Dennis gets milky, though Margaret's not in his VHS collection. The roof, Dee's last attempt at McPoylification.
I love inbreeding!
This nearly had me spurt out my coffee. And now we're in Die Hard territory. Frank firing indiscriminately. I love his cruel poke with a stick and the fake out of Liam falling 12 feet. And more hilarity as the McPoys run off having punked again. Season 3 directing duties are shared by Jerry Levine, Matt Shackman, and in this helmed by Fred Savage, doing a bang-up job with a claustrophobic, smelly atmosphere. Actually, smell is key in this one, or stink. The episode is written by Hart and Michael Henney, and Season 3 story editor Lisa Parsons. They create a formulaic inversion. Instead of the gang breaking down the doors of someone's world, it's their world which is destroyed. So much is happening you forget it's a bottle episode. Hostage is enjoyable and deserves its high status. Aluminum, or Aluminium, is the second of 3 in a row directed by Fred Savage. Charlie's cool teas come from shoplifting. I bet Mac's been to this store too. Judy Greer is an explosion of colour as Ingrid Fatty Magoo Nelson. First Dee doesn't remember her, which explains other relationships. Delish irony in her bullying having inspired Ingrid's success.
I got a fatty to take down.
I really enjoyed rewatching this episode. It seems a first for a Dee in focus. The title is something of a red herring as Dee doesn't come close to taking Ingrid down. Instead we get an episode stuck with surprises from the imagination. Is it a boat, a light bulb or a straw? Analysis of Dee's drawing is hysterical. Dennis demonstrates his erotic artistry. Charlie too keen to feed his ego. When Dee says,
Used to be popular in high school, but I think you peaked.
Parton gives us a performance of intensity with a slow walk and a tone which could cut glass. It's iconic and demonstrates, as it comes in scene 2, how Sonny doesn't rest on his laurels. And Mac is right there, spray painting Frank's chair gold.
These are just pictures of women with giant breasts.
Full creep.
Yeah.
I nearly spat out my coffee again. Dee's design skills are getting worse. Charlie's design skills are guided by Dennis's sexual lechery. Charlie gets really into this. He's caught in the spell. Dennis sure shows signs of grooming him. We get Frank teaching Mac about manipulation, his interest being the setup of a sweatshop, just like the good old days. Dee is taken for a quiet word. This gives us some very awkward physical contact between McElhenney and Olsen. He's genuinely trying to affect intimacy but looks palely threatening, and Dee seems ready to knock him out.
Breath smells like an old lady fart passing through an onion.
Male toxicity and Dennis Reynolds. It's mortifying, and I wonder if I'm laughing out of fear or comedy. This is a tightrope Dennis walks. It's easy to want to believe there aren't people like him, but sadly it's too true. And so Sonny helps us confront threats from a safe space. With aluminum, Dennis is easily the most complete character, and this partly explains why he's a fan favourite. Yet more Dennis peaks to come. Just like your top 10 retailers, the sweatshop is on, and just like you and I, Charlie is a sitting dog for it. Dee is not Naomi Klein. An experimental 4-beat montage shows Dennis failing to sell the stores. When Dennis bluffs on 100 new orders, Nazi propaganda comes in on Tannoy to the smoky sweatshop. Charlie and the workers are fearful. The managers are paranoid. It's all gone now Adidas, Apple, Microsoft, Samsung. Oh, sorry, am I reminding you? Frank and Mac have sabotaged Dee's thing, the war in Ingrid. So she cuts this new practice down at its roots, leading a walkout, though in her feeble bird brains a strike.
And a lot of good men died in that sweatshop.
Dennis is going to peek all over everybody. Mark Dunlap is played by Michael Mark Friedman and great in this 1 minute scene. And Dennis makes an unusual and shocking appearance. It's intimated only he is worthy to wear this dress. The internet got meme fun with the fate of the 125 Dennis Reynolds prototypes in the world. How many can you find? Pre-credits, Dee mangles Pulp Fiction, Mac upstaged by his duster, a talent show, a microbrew and Koreans that sneak down. Shouting over one another enables quick exposition and setup with dramatic tension and laughs. Frank wants antifreeze in the moonshine microbrew. To enrich a microbrew merely means to improve it through experimentation and exploration. User Hoodoo Operator says it's a reference to North Korea enriching uranium. In any case, this shocks Dennis as he takes from Charlie his mental leaps to the worst scenario. We get the hilarious pirate door and Charlie trying random keys. Terrible break-in. Laugh atop a laugh. Mac and Frank argue for the right colour to demonstrate the most threat.
No, Mookie, I don't want to do it. It's too hot outside.
Threat level mostest. Enter Takeo Fisher as Mr. Kim with a movable object in her voice. She makes an immediate presence in Shirley Villain's Hall of Fame. Takeo was another attractive actor, uglied up for a role in Sonny. There's more great casting in Sanaya Gennady as Sun Lee. Gennady is buzzing with fresh energy. Her brief interaction with Mr. Kim is the best kind of tonal whiplash. Sound work, simple goes a long way. He's sitting on an American Idol style panel over the world's worst operetta. I've only seen clips of American Idol, but the satire rings true, dog. Though plot-centric, it feels theatrically isolated, so I'm glad they returned to this concept in later episodes. The gang are invested in judging. Sun Lee is waiting for Charlie and their chemistry is as tangible as before. Hot bucket. Dee gets a bum rush.
Yo, terrible actress.
Maxie Santillan Jr. makes the most of his minor role with simple physicality, makeup and wardrobe, drawing out a sleazy McPoyle-esque quality. Charlie and Sun Lee trolling Dennis is still one of my favourite humiliations of Dennis. Their shared likes and dislikes, how their bodies move in sync, this is a perfect match. Through lack of scruples, Dee wakes up somewhere, paralleling Dennis's predicament in episode 1. Sadly, Maxie Santillan Jr. passed away in March 2022. What a memory he took with him. The duster is essential. Frank sets up a wet t-shirt contest with no prior mention of this in the story, no plot scenes, no nothing. That's delicious. More so because the most pathetic member of the gang, Mac, is again the voice of reason.
You can't just blast people with a hose.
When Mac is right, the world is wrong.
Lock the door.
Dennis's envy rises. Dee is punked by the Korean busboy. Frank and Mrs. Kim face off. It's to get over a key plot point, but these two powerhouses of acting make it seamless. The characters have a lot in common. Headstrong tempers, exploiters of labour. It's a low-key clash of titans. Oh Great Leader is a mashup of various anthems and exposed nipples in Frank's heroic sacrifice. And a packed out bar gets to hear all about their near underage sex show and even discussed. And we've a fairly tidy coda. I like this one a lot. A hot button theme that follows through with a stellar guest cast and satisfying levels of trials and betrayals. Arguing helipads while they wait for the businessman to arrive. Oh, he's been there all along. His proposal is for Paddy's to become an oldies rock cafe, and the offered amount changes their morals. Who'd have thunk it? Day and Hornsby's script, directed by Shackman.
Let's sell this piece of...
Dee applies for a job at Hard Rock. I really like the staff outfits and how they add to the consistent design of Hard Rock. This episode goes a long way to properly paving her relationship with the waitress. Her cafe is opposite a new Starbucks, which is great for Dee. So from the off, it's Dee lying, steamrolling over her and using her. The waitress asks herself with some innocence if Dee went to high school. It could be a snark and revenge for them for never using her name. A slight later elevated to the gang, not recognising her from school. The gang returned to corporate to deliver their terms of some kind of acknowledgement. A plaque fly by, dynamiting the bar. The meat goes wildly off the rails. The scene is barely 100 seconds long, but the script will easily have run through to 3 pages. You can hear real loathing and wisdom in Richard Riccolo's tone as he takes a deal away. Classic Charlie, he's already sold
A load of shares one time for a half a sandwich.
He rants about job cannons and job trees. Frank wastes no time forgetting that deadweight. We're back to the strip club. When Riccolo's character comes out, Mac is the first interested, and tellingly Dennis knows a lot about gay sex performative language. Mac is engaged for the great bear twink top power bottom debate. The waitress is still just naive enough to think Dee might follow standard working practice. Enter Charlie. Though he's a walking trigger, there's enough clever script and acting for the waitress to come on board. Dee has been double dropping, which she gets away with through invoking Dennis. Charlie Day's rapid delivery perfectly demonstrates a strong work ethic. When Charlie turns his mind to something and attains that flow state, he is a consummate completer of tasks. Raz, Scoots, Hockey and Crazy Legs, the Yellow Jacket Boys. Their late addition and purpose would be weakly tangential by lesser creatives, but they fit right in with Sonny's random and chaotic style.
You're doing the double drop here too, huh? Yeah, we always used to take the difference out of your purse.
Dennis has been double dropping Dee's wages for her double dropping. He's settling in on seeing the chicks and the bickering settles in with him. Blatant disingenuousness by Charlie sustained for nearly a minute. It gives the dynamic of a predator toying with his prey. The waitress falling on Dennis.
What is her name again?
Mac is incensed with the doo-wop gang. Those boys sure have the rhythm. It's such a weird idea that Frank was part of a musical group and sparks imagination on how this came to be. The actors of chemistry: Phil DeBarros, Charles G. Davis, John Lathan, Harvey Shield and DeVito giving their all. Predictably, the waitress is double shafted by Dee and Dennis.
Wow.
The Yellow Jackets call on corporate. Tragedy follows the gang's trail even when they're supporting their friends, or especially. Farewell to hockey. An above the bar, out of the bar episode and a strong production. Frank argues with the kids about the news and news entertainment.
I didn't go to Syria anymore for vacation.
Frank has been on the news. He and Charlie produced a news for a school video about stoning cats. Point being, we know this episode's manifesto until the dialogue leads us down an alleyway to one of the best title punchlines.
How's anybody going to get hurt?
This episode we get magazines, cameras and television, so one for the media students. What is the news? How do you define it? For Frank, it's the ability to scare people. Dennis and Dee view it as escapism, centred on celebrities' upskirts and nip slips. There's a couple of things going on here. Sonny commenting on the then current reality TV explosion and its sacrifices to boring people. And mobile phone video publishing. While the technology was used, the culture was some way off. 5 years until Vine, 6 until Instagram does the same. The news team investigates abuse at a nursing home. Mac's accosting of Simple Irvine is great to camera action. There's no ass raping, but they manage to ignore stories on theft, racism and potential arson. I think Frank is way uncomfortable to be here. In Chinatown I search for karate and lightning bolts. Men trade fish for other fish, which I think is a metaphor for the pointless futility of the news cycle and journalism. A martial arts expo turns out to be a wee tournament with children. Mac saves a guy's life, a unique news story which they bungled due to narrow ideas of news and mainly Charlie's idiocy of aesthetics over functionality. Frank seems really hung up on pandemics this episode. Meanwhile, Dennis parties a night away. Dean models with the garbage. In retrospect, it's odd Dean needs coaxing to bully the bouncer, but it serves the meta-narrative of reality TV stardom. This episode by Michael Henry, Martyr and Rowell and Fred Savage was made when reality TV was morphing into obscene figures taking centre stage, a model which has barely changed nearly 2 decades later. Facebook and Twitter were also setting up, putting stardom with the most vulgar. Dee gets really into the value of her metaphorical shoe. The plot moves feel contrived underneath the excellent Alex Saul as a stoic bouncer and Pedro Lopez's dancing guy, the latter one of Sonny's great memes. There's delight to be had as Charlie sings to Mac, massaging the news.
Hey, who's that sexy news guy? It's Mac.
Mac and Charlie both have poor grasps of how to compose a shot. So Dee is on fire. It doesn't meet broadcast standards, which means a retake. As the gang remarks, dancing guy and diaper time feel really off, yet entrancing. It follows with Deandra in the well, a nod to the onset of viral video shorts and its predecessor, the blooper reel. I can imagine the gang watching the TV news, sleeping past the boring part until it comes to a funny story like this. Here we see Dennis has come around on turning Dee into a celebrity. His failure this episode plants seeds for a classic in season 9. His insistence Dee fakes bulimia, a nod to an oncoming victim as celeb culture. Oh, I'd forgotten all about the cat chopping conveyor belt. Glee. And a cringy smart conclusion with the diaper time theme playing out over the credits. It's ironic the gang spend the episode looking to become famous. Their best shot is in continuing to be scumbag criminals. Dee's dating little Kev. He could have a little hand or a little foot. He arrives smiling and welcoming, which throws the gang for a curveball, so there must be something wrong with him. It's always demonetisable and Sonny. The behind-the-scenes crew are really pulling their weight with this one. Season 3 is helmed evenly by 3 directors, Shackman, Savage, and this episode Jerry Levine. It's amusing how quickly Dee comes around to the idea that little Kev is mentally challenged. And though they heap slurs on little Kev, the hypocrisy fuels inspiration. If he can be in a band, so can they. Oh, Dennis got triggered. He's looking for the Mac in the mirror. Charlie is a musical genius. Frank loves the drums. Dennis frames Dee as gold-digging vulnerable Kev in less pleasant language and a running scoreboard upping use of the R word.
It's retarded 3, normal 1.
Oh. Sir!
Mac and Frank are on the same page, musicians image over quality of output, and a fun aside with Charlie's favourite chair. They trash a hotel room on Frank's bill, mustard on wood. Let's talk about the R word, equivalent to moronic or imbecile, which fits Kev or Dee's edit of him. But what's meant here is a slur for someone with a mental disability. Kantar research in a 2-year study of online bullying found 60% used the R word towards people with learning difficulties. Many consider it hate speech. I suffer from a neurological disability myself. I've been the victim of this. But everyone on the planet's a bit cracked in the head, not least the gang. Scratch that, especially the gang. So I don't mind the R word here, because it's realistic language and context. I might be wrong. The gang are not wholly fictional. They're representative constructs. I like seeing these mistakes of the past exposed and recognised. I'll be happy when Sonny loses disabled and transgender slurs in later seasons. Oh yeah, I love being woke. When I'm done, I'll be asleep. And this scene with little Kev is hilarious in its ghoulishness. The wig is back and doing the bop.
The Pecan Sandies. We are chemical toilet.
Whoa, Mac, what are you wearing? Some movement from David Zdunich as Ernie the Barfly, who's in 13 episodes until his death in 2009. It's a complete clash of musical styles, and the lyric sheet for Nightman is replete with sexual energy. It's really fucked. Really uncomfortable. There's over a minute of this demo. Oh, cringe. And a perfect cut to Dennis. Dennis tells Dee he's been messing with her. Oh, social view of disability. I hope you get the help you need. Charlie's performance mirrors the body language of little Kev. This scene is one of the most famous, rightfully. You can see the lighting and the tone changing on cam. The acting just flows. Dayman is a welcome celebration of honest friendship, transcending these characters. The following scene shows this in contrast. Dennis's cringy pelvis fondling, all the shallowness of Patty's fake gaudy costumes, and Charlie's freakout. Little Kev, played by Kyle Davis, gives us the perfect ending to these calamities. Study Kev and you find a genuinely nice guy, friendly, laid back and a talent. Everyone has their limits. His decimation of Dee is a beautiful crowd pleaser. Sonny, take a bow.
The gravy train's leaving, so who's the toilet now?
Frank thinks Mac is a serial killer and is going to torture him with a chainsaw. Why is that unreasonable? So we get the welcome return of Carmen. I love the joke of a cis woman, Brittany Daniel, playing a trans woman. It wonderfully forwards its point. We should respect how people want to be identified. Alright there, Jeffrey Tambor. And Mac's vulnerability around her, being such a tough guy and all. Michael Henry has regrets about the T-word and the crotch close-ups and has apologised. The trans community has a positive response to Carmen. This ranges from her contrast with the disgust of the gang, who've done far worse than use slurs. There's some criticism of Carmen's incorrect language around removal of genitalia and her manipulation of Mac's vanity, but she's beloved as a good person who'll call him on his BS. I love refinding little details I missed. Charlie is in suit and tie for the stealthy research. Can only mean he's in lawyer mode here. Staking out Mac, there's time for Charlie to pose for a photo. I love how Dennis in his staking out has brought the necessary thermal wear. In Dennis's criticism of Dee's male-like qualities, I see subtext of the heightened risk the trans community face from violent crime. Marcus Harris as Pepperjack gives one of the shortest appearances of the most memorable character for some years. He's an insistent man who owns what he sees, down at Fraggle Crack Rock. Dennis and Dee think about the thoughts of a serial killer. And we had a classic two characters talking about different things trope. It's lawyer time, think like an eagle. Charlie has a quiet word to get Mac to stop, and his sensitive ways are what Mac responds to in bigotry and attraction. The hardware store. See how easily Dennis accepts Dee's explanation for taking tools for free? He's actually proud of Dee for this level of manipulation. Sandy, Martin and apathy transcends to high art. Charlie is in full cosplay, assuming her as his client. She agrees Mac is out there killing people. Perhaps be rid of them to watch her show. House-to-house painter and psycho clown, and is seen as a gem. Dennis knows his killers. Dee squeaking as she walks, oh my god, it's a perfect Muppets pitch. They had this coming. Dennis's trend of taking credit for others' ideas when he proclaims Mac as a killer. In my opinion, Mac is the least likely of the gang to be a serial killer, somewhat ironic as they project their inner selves on him. His shame compartmentalises, a hyper-secrecy leading to his evaluation as a suspect. As mentioned earlier, the show is clear Carmen is not at fault for her trans status. Carmen is open about it. Mac is super awkward. She develops as a character in her appearances, here dumping Mac's worthless ass. Mac's line,
Right? Look, it's not like I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of myself.
is clever writing. Mac goes to see his lawyer, whose home looks tidier with more papers than usual.
To catch a predator.
Frank is demented. He plans a beautiful dance with a chainsaw. I've seen enough of the parodied show to appreciate Dennis's reconstruction of the mise-en-scene. Oh god, the cookies, the cookies.
Not so young and attractive, is she?
That's a coffee spitter of a line. Charlie is a crazy person, and it's a helpful way for him to vent. He's just won his first case. Bill Chott as Gary is fine. There's interesting theories about Gary, that he'd risk leaving Dee the keys because he wanted her in his flat to make her a victim, or that she had the keys as he was collecting these heads as gifts for her. This is a great episode, plots full of variety, external locations putting colour on the screen, and plenty of character exposition. Thank you, Sonny, for being here. We open in Charlie and Frank's kitchen, always fun. I'm in glee that Mac thinks NIMBY neighbours on the prisoner releases have a full inventory. Ah, come on, I can't afford demonetization. A member of the gang mistaken for someone else. Similar premise to the last episode, though closer to the truth. Yay, it's Lawther, a welcome return. He might have stabbed Short Eyes, which is prison slang for a prisoner convicted of child sex abuse. He shows a liking for Dee's hair, and you can't fault Cummins' deadpan delivery.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
One of the women here is Katie McElhenney, a sister of Rob. She's a staff writer in seasons 14 and 15 and right across Mythic Quest. The future truth about Dennis is out. How much of this is social fulfilling prophecy? We're informed by the Always Sunny wit that across these first 28 episodes, Dennis has already been called a molester several times. Frank's moving out for a bang maid. Despite the comedy, this is a little heartbreaking in retrospect. I'm a big softie. Yeah.
Your mom.
The truth behind Luther's list pushes suspension of disbelief some. However, McElhenney and Cummins play off each other so well here. Dee's manipulation of Dennis is joyfully barbaric. Dee is truly the quiet psycho, the one you never see coming. You can see the oncoming catastrophe here though. The most is made with being all built up to Dennis's end. Hysterically funny. This episode also has more plots than the last one, differentiating it nicely. Mac wants a reunion party, Charlie wants a breakup, past the jars of wine is novel shoplifting. Lawther arrives out of nowhere. Mac is desperate to create an ambience, and Sandy Martin lets out a super indifferent puff of smoke. And there is a rare unexpected reaction from her when Charlie tells his mother he crapped in her food. Charlie is quick in pimping Bonnie out to Lawther, and Cummins' unexpected reaction here is pure charisma.
And the seed is planted.
I had assumed Wendell Albright was digital manipulation or a doppelganger, not Glenn Howerton in a fat suit and prosthetics, so honorary mentions to Thomas E. Supranant and Leah Vautrot in the makeup department. Child actor Conor McCoy is just brilliant in his performance. The script is piss myself laughter. Unsettling. We get disclosure. Luther's names are judges, wardens, cops, and it does make for acceleration. And this episode's best screamed line.
You don't eat someone because they don't have heroin in their ass!
Oh, the stolen car was Dennis's. Bonnie is broken and her son makes sure of it. Cooperstown has a baseball hall of fame. Buying 3 plane tickets, Luther's violated his parole. The honest explanation of his intent worked precisely because it's so cumulatively over the top. This is so Lawther as you might see in a lot of Reddit posts proposing the idea that he's actually a nice guy. Anyway, Mac's dead. Great script by Rob McElhenney with reins for Jerry Levine to direct. Gregory Scott Cummins, Sandy Martin and Lynn Marie Stewart are among Sonny's finest supporting cast, and it's always a pleasure to see them all share the stage. I came too early. My favourite named tropes for this episode are I am a humanitarian because cannibalism sounds cool. This is also reversed when it doesn't sound cool. Nightmare fetishist. It amused me for Dee setting up Dennis, and off-screen teleportation, probably coined for Lawther. Did you know mistaken for paedophile is also a TV trope? Better authenticate your moustache. And because I'm 50 it amuses me there is a Disney Channel page for this episode. I'm 50. So Mac's electrical know-how's based off 1980s action flicks, and Frank is gullible to it. Dennis, as the intelligent one, calls out someone might be looking for the big bag of drugs. But a minute later he's gone 180. It's his idea to sell them. Frank is the only one shouting,
Bossy scumbags!
Bingo is a worrying psycho. Charlie's enigmatic code doesn't help. The gangsters are incredible. Each has their own stature, character and tone. They've evenly sat on the line between goofy and scary as hell.
He said to the man he wanted many, many thousands of green people from history times.
The lights are fixed. Frank doesn't care about the mob probe. Back to see Greg Wiener's character Bingo. He's got OxyContin, a prescription opioid used to treat long-term chronic and acute pains, for example cancer. OxyContin is fairly addictive. While Bingo is seriously overcharging them, only Dee, 0 hours contract worker, has the cash to pay for them. Frank is fiercely uninterested in funding this episode. He's controlling, throwing down ultimatums, refusing to bail him out of this death sentence. It's not until the country club trickery comes up that he's inspired to be involved. As a pimp he's a far cry from Pepper Jack, maybe a sea captain's side hustle. Charlie hears of horses, a split-second launch into his solo mission tickles my nose. Robert Tarr's Buster the Jockey is comic brilliance, real physicality. He and Charlie have immediate chemistry. Mac and Dee pick a private members room to scam and bicker. Coming to acting, they're hotheads. Their made-up narrative makes no sense. It falls apart. Mac crumbles. Dennis takes him on his guidance on gigolo work. Matt Cedino is charming in this role, believably drawing you in until a kitchen scene rug pull. Charlie at the Jockeys Club, and again with their presumed muteness, projecting imagined supernatural abilities to these characters, even before he confesses to maybe being a centaur. We have to address this. Most centaurs were warlike and barbaric, the exception being the famed Chiron, wise and kind. Their fight with humans was seen as representing the fight for civilization. They also liked to drink wine. Reddit user, Dash-O-Matics, used without permission. Here's mine, get your own back. Anyway, Buster just made the world a less magical place. Charlie smells like cheese or horse turd, and isn't this the best TV show ever? It's always Sonny versus a wire all the way. Frank tries to get him out of there, much like you might try to reason with a pet, and Dennis is coming close to earning a smack. Frank has successfully played him. There's a Reddit user who theorises the events of this whole two-parter were orchestrated by Frank to muck with the gang. Plausible. The stranding of Mac. Nice one, D. You finally proved your worth. He's weak. Back to the mobsters, sandwiches and sportswear. As far as I know, that's James Price as Anthony, Mario Di Donato as Lefty, Johnny by John Mariano, well known for his De Niro-isms, used in Animaniacs and the like. The threesome play off each other to give the audience a great comic blanket. Even funnier paired up with this jabroni. The first of a two-parter, script by Marta Rozelle and Howerton, could have been with the Mob and Country Club separately, though it definitely works wrapping one story around the other. It's a great setup, and there's more to come. Writers Marta and Rozelle and director Matt Shackman return for the conclusion to Sonny's first two-parter. No pre-credits scene, so let's talk credits. Did you know the actors appear in order of their birthdays, Charlie being the youngest? He shot this footage from his car. The collection of iconic landmarks was shot by Charlie from a car window. A beautiful city of lights that gets you in the heart.
No getting high on the supply.
This is the lousiest drug operation I've ever seen.
What the hell?
What the hell are you doing?
What the fuck did I do?
Dope on the table.
And this is in keeping with Charlie's attention to sanitation. Frank's still anti-drugs. Dennis agrees, though I wonder, is this gigolo in his sway? Answer, yes. His vanity is catered to, and of course, this is a dangerous route. Positive affirmations and massages are a feature now when one of the gang want another to do something. The mobsters appear to have their own D. Enter Mac, the new D. His new gang find him just as disturbing as his old gang.
Pussy hands!
Nice one, Anthony. Oh, look at this gem from Reddit user Box of Chowder. Find it and upvote.
He does have gorgeous hands, though.
Charlie is intimation of Wall Street. There's a quiet pun on financial Charlie work. Pump and dump trading is done by the lowest Wall Street grunts. Those trading in the boiler room. He's seen plenty of those and likes to shout and wave papers. David Hornsby's cricket makes his second appearance. Already he's a wreck, scamming and homeless. You can't figure out what it has to do with her. Homeless ivory tower, indeed. It's all down here from Hill a long way. Frank is loving this life of degradation. Charlie's obsessed with this horse he exchanged eye contact with. A relatable anecdote. Cricket's a great drug dealer, which plants seeds in this episode's best argument line.
We say words all the time too.
It's funny sad because Dee's flat is Cricket's happy ever after. Still, some coke ought to speed that up, I guess. What are the rules? Franco's hard pimp and DeVito is terrifying. Follow me here. It's a savage version of the only you attention Dennis's mother gave him. New psycho level unlocked. A very wire-esque street in Philly draws us nearer to Cricket's next slide. No fox pitch for you, Matty Mara. The trash cans goeth. Sometimes I have no words. A new member of the mob in Joe Cortez's Don Sal, Pussy Hands has his ear, but lacks what's upstairs. Howerton's dancing is reminiscent of Dee's acting. Far too much slapping makes for good slapstick.
This will trick him.
Who's Peter Nincompoop?
That was actually told in part 1 for the eagle-eyed, but the reveal still comes out of nowhere, made more incredible by Peter's framing as a unicorn. It's such a brief scene, and highly satisfying. Sonny does not rest on laurels. Dee and Charlie and Whiteface, Cricket B's creative, Frank has his gun, everyone has a gun, except Mac, who is a voice of reason, total hypocrite. Dennis saves the day. Fun bait and switch, not by whoring, but selling Frank's chalice. And Cricket speaks the wrong words at the wrong time. Dee isn't the first to point the finger, but look at the blocking, and she's the clearest indicator to the offended Don Sal. Rickety Cricket, the human equivalent of the board game Operation, adults only. Jerry Levine, Charlie Day and David Hornsby. 25 seconds of this and the actor's expression is priceless. So let's talk social justice. Mac's black coat.
D, get my coat.
Looks to be. Discussion diverted with the minutiae of bookkeeping. From weapon talk, it's an unexpected aside. Only this earlier version of Dennis could get away with being in a junkyard level of filth. Not miles away from these three at the dump. A cop car outside Paddy's is a good plan. The Guardian Angels are a natural link to Mac's tough self-imagination. This joy is Tracy Walter. Uncannily he was in Serpico playing Street Urchin. Mad Convergence. DBH, D bodily harm. I love she's high on adrenaline for another round standing beside Mac the Wimp. Those bold boys in blue and the sixth member of the gang.
Agent Jack Bauer.
It's proposed Charlie goes undercover and he's so enthusiastic, even though soon they're already screwing him. Serpico. Charlie Kelly loves the costume department. DeVito and Harton are having so much fun as bent cops, and Day as the antagonist is organically apt for the character, tapping his improv-like style. So the gang's two most pathetic, at an ego-fueled peak. Philadelphia is number 40 of the US most dangerous cities. There, Joe Public Mark is not playing ball, and oh, how far the twist goes. They're such racist pieces of trash. The actor for the mugger isn't credited, but what a look. Real metaphor and edutainment here. These guys are thugs, and in uniform their madness for power is heightened. Broadly, US policing is dreadful, preying on the vulnerable, because they recruit and indulge the Franks and Dennises of this world. Mashed hot dogs and milk in a bowl. Dennis's fondness for Agent Bauer is odd at first. Surely the cat is ridden with fleas, but then Dennis has plans to be a vet, and Bauer's tough, violent aspects reflect Dennis's own. The agent is a soulmate or spiritual animal. Charlie delivers plot exposition by talking to himself, quite in keeping with the imaginative story a child might play act. His love of recording tools and duct tape also play in here. Time for more betrayal. Satan, sorry Dennis, reaches out to Mac and D. Charlie, trying to act conspicuous, also a joy. This cop shop looks like a purposed workplace. It's tidy and well dressed. Keeping a straight face is Carla Renata. Charlie's corruption rant is superbly undermined by the lack of challenge. Frank does like hot dogs. I'm not sure why the protests if Dee and Mac had planned to Molotov the cop car. Tension and the rising music supervised by Ray Espinola Jr., who is in top form this episode. A fine explosive finale. But no, there's more beats to play out. Costumed ranting. A man in love with a horse. Comic fun with a street sweeper. And an excellent freeze frame. They really jam it in there. This episode is deservedly a favourite. The whole crew shines. DOP Peter Smokler, costume department Sabrina Rosen and Sean Barry, set designer Mindy Toback, sound mixer Eric Magnus. Everyone's up front and bringing a great game. Heyo! In the teaser, Frank institutes employee ranking, an argument which brilliantly takes a long run at the episode's high stakes and character journeys. This new element of drama fuels the usual character assassination and backsass. We're thrown into a buzzing atmosphere, more than Paddy's has seen before. Q Crew DJs played by twins Jason and Randy Sklar. They bring a sort of dual narrator role to this with a great flow. That flow times with the rhythm in this first act. Grooving returns of Mary Elizabeth Ellis, David Hornsby, old beefs and new technologies. In a sense, this is Sonny's first musical. Okay, it's a danceicle. Dance marathons were the rage in the 20s. Perusing Wikipedia, the excess and exploitation present wasn't too far from what we see in this episode.
Oh God, what is that awful noise?
Cricket's incarnation as a bionic street rat, and he feels like too many Terminator sequels. Charlie, shiny with sweat and glitter, but also that neat tattoo. Dee's psych plans disregarded, but Dennis's psych plans are exactly the same. The gang so easily manipulate Frank, he is the weakest of mind. See here, Mac applies his own brand of psycho investigation by bamboozling the waitress. The Sunny Wiki states Robert and Gloria are the protagonists in Horace McCoy's They Shoot Horses, Don't They?, a novella about a dance marathon. Gloria learns some dance moves: bump, grind, thrust, buttock grip and dip, and a rococo bang. Dee convinces Charlie to turn on Mac. She's had a specific hate for him. Beyond the off-screen gag, more context for this might be interesting. How quickly Reverend Matthew drops his pitch to Frank's sympathies and instead goes full Scorsese. Mac is ridiculously gullible. Yes, Charlie can be weirdly smart, but Mac's neediness is always a sight to behold. Leaving Ricky Gervais's office dance in the dust. Dennis setting up the fall is well signposted, but see how he keeps dancing, tries to play the peacemaker, and ensures he can continue his grift. Of course, Frank will be doping the dancers, and in the stinkiest way possible.
Shut up, street rat.
Repetition of a previous tactic as Dee manipulates a waitress into grinding another oldie. She never got over Frank. Mac's dancing is even more dreadful. He looks like Metal Mickey. Mary Elizabeth Ellis's glee is wonderful. With not Mac but Dee manipulating Charlie and the Dennis of things, there's consequences. When it comes to music, the boy Charlie has a cream. So 12 hours pass between Charlie's first sedative brownie and he's still dancing, maybe still chewing.
What's with the chopping, dude?
Typically, the gang are their own worst enemies, and some extreme violence to take us to the finale. She had that coming. This episode is a quiet little epic. Drama with the bar's future is uncertain, and it's a season finale. It's genuinely trying something innovative with the use of time for the structure. The endurance trial motivates the characters' willing excesses. And we get ample servings of absurdism in their addictions to stupidity. Two of the rogues gallery of supporting cast show up, and of course they pay the price. Dances their asses off, puts away a hat trick of seasons. I hope you've enjoyed this Always Sunny Omnibus. Please give my channel a look for other Sunny videos and other comedy reviews and video essays. A big thank you to all my patrons whose names are on screen now. You can check out the page at patreon.com/AndyLuke, and why not buy my new novel, Cosigns After Dark? It's still new. Oh, like, comment, share and subscribe.